Hey guys, so Nacht Der Untoten was the first zombies map ever made, and ever since that fateful day it came out, Treyarch has been constantly making new zombies maps in an attempt to improve the game mode as a whole. Well, ever since then, the evolution of zombies maps have made modern day zombies maps a lot different than Nacht Der Untoten. And today, it begs the question, is Nacht Der Untoten still fun to play? Well, I want to say no it's not, but I gotta do the video. On November 11th, 2008, a game called Call of Duty: The World Is at War dropped, birthing Treyarch Zombies game mode we all know and love. Zombies originated as a bonus game mode unlocked only after beating the World at War campaign. Treyarch initially thought that zombies wouldn't be nearly as popular as it is today, but that's because they can't see the future. Stupid idiots. So with this being the first zombies map ever, it's really simple, and you could call it bland if you wanted to. There's certainly a whole lot of gray, but the zombies mode was meant to be gloomy and scary, so it's understandable that it's like that. The map also isn't original, as it's a multiplayer map and a location in the campaign. But again, it was meant to be a bonus unlockable game mode, so all this makes sense. In this video, I'm going to talk about the level design, how well it works as a first map, and how well it's aged over time in terms of replayability. Unfortunately, there's not a lot to talk about in terms of level design, so let's talk about that first. Other than the fact that the map is a reused asset in its entirety, the map is obviously really simple with only like 3 rooms. I think this is a good thing though for it being the first zombies map, because there are a lot of unique concepts of zombies in general that are really easy to grasp when there are tons of other factors in the map. Obviously, World at War's future maps would go on to add things like power, perks, a pack-a-punch, among other things, but the simplicity of Nacht I think was really good, at least for the time being, with the first zombies map. The map is really small though, again, understandably so, but it could honestly be bigger, and there wasn't really anything stopping them from making it bigger than it is. Also in Nacht, once you get one of the power-ups, there's a timer that shows how long the power-up lasts, which I think is really cool, but for some reason they decided to completely remove that from all future maps. Like, why? I understand it's hard to look at and kinda ugly, but they couldn't have like reimagined how it showed up or something? They couldn't have improved it or anything? I don't know what Treyarch employee was sniffing markers and decided to remove that, but I really wish they didn't do that. Hey guys, ex-Treyarch employee here, and I just want to let you know that us and the developers of Treyarch Zombies made sure that the AI for the Nacht zombies were slightly different than the other maps. Isn't that cool? That makes up for the removing the timer things, right? Anyway, I just had to kick that weirdo out of my house, but we have some more Nacht stuff to talk about. So even though the level design is simple, I think it works for a few reasons. For one, even though there are only 2 doors worth buying, and one door that if you buy just makes everything worse, I think that's really good for a first map, and here's why. For the core concept of zombies to develop at all, like training and camping, people have to be able to do these ideas. And in Nacht, there's only one real camping spot, and if you buy the couch on the stairs, the camping spot is ruined, which adds a small yet interesting dynamic to the map, which is kind of fun sometimes. But since the level design is so simple, it's easy for players to naturally develop strategies like camping, especially in multiplayer, because of the small rooms and easy to get caught on corners makes it hard to just have a bunch of people recklessly shooting zombies in one room for very long. So due to the simplicity and level design, lots of strategies formed, and since again this is the first map, I think it's totally fine that it's simple, even though it could have been more than what it is for sure. Another thing with the level design that's kind of annoying is that you can easily get stuck on a lot of these objects on the ground due to weird hit detection. This isn't a huge deal, and it mostly just stops group training in the spawn room, but it's still annoying when you're training on round 20 and while you're reloading you accidentally get stuck on an invisible collision box next to an object on the ground and, just die. I do like the fact that there's an upstairs and downstairs though, and even though buying the couch on the stairs makes the game harder, I really like the ease of access for having 2 ways to go up and down the stairs. It's just nice. Speaking of things that are just nice, I want to give a shout out to today's video sponsors, who are the nicest people in the world, my Patreons. Today's video is sponsored by my Patreons, MemeStream and Eggsy. Yeah, these are the coolest people on the planet. So anyway, now that we've talked about the level design, it's time to talk about how this map is aged over time. So obviously we've established that the level design is totally fine and works well with it being the first map ever to release. But looking at the map objectively, this may not be the case. There have been a lot of really good maps to come out since Nacht, and some of these maps even have a notch in its entirety in the map, like Revelations or Transit, so it makes justifying playing the original map harder to do, not to mention the 2 remakes of the map in Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 3. Obviously Black Ops 1 added Mule Kick, and Black Ops 3 added Gumballs and the Wonder Fizz, so they aren't the exact same map, but I'm not even going to get into all that in this video. Instead, I'm going to continue to focus on the World at War version. Obviously Nacht doesn't have any perks, and for any Zombies fan who's played like any other map, this might be weird. People say World at War is the hardest zombies game out of all of them, and while I disagree, I totally understand why. The zombies AI in Nacht and in World at War in general is really hard, and they can pull you in and kill you really quickly. And with the lack of jug and other perks on Nacht, it's really easy to just accidentally die and completely lose. There's no quick revive either, so if you're playing on solo and you actually mess up one time, it doesn't matter because you're probably just going to die. There is the ray gun on this map, but in terms of wonder weapons, that's it. And if you're cornered, the ray gun will not only not save you, but it will also kill you with its splash damage. Not to mention, other than there being no wonder weapons, there isn't a pack-a-punch either, so other than a couple of really strong shotguns, you aren't going to find any weapons that will save you from getting cornered. Meaning that in World at War Zombies, if you mess up, the consequence is usually death, and a game over, which is really hard, and a lot of Zombies players probably don't enjoy that. Granted, there are also strats you can learn that are unique to World at War and Nacht, where you can get used to how the zombies behave and start performing much better, but I understand not wanting to have to go through all that just to play Nacht. Obviously, with it being harder, there's going to be an appeal to playing it for some people, especially more hardcore players, but it's hard to find an argument for the appeal overall to players, other than the fact that it's the first map ever and it's really simple. So obviously the majority of people don't enjoy doing things that are really hard and that they're bad at, but Notch has an appeal for other reasons too. For example, a complaint I see with a lot of modern Zombies maps that obviously isn't apparent with Notch is that they're way too complicated. I don't need no complicated map, I just want a grill for God's sake. So yeah, a lot of the Zombies maps as time went on became more and more complex, and while at first pretty much every addition was happily welcome, the map started to get complex just to be complex. First there were buildable items, which were fun, but then as we get to Black Ops 4, there's like 50 buildable items and a required buildable thing you need to do to access some secret area of the map that's not really secret and pretty much required to have fun, by the way. On Mob of the Dead, just to get the Pack-a-Punch, you have to literally build a plane, and I like Mob of the Dead, but again, I'm just trying to grill here. So obviously with that in mind, Nacht actually does not have many, if any, complex additions. You just get a room, a mystery box, some wall buys, and zombies. Go have fun. And a lot of people when they play zombies only want that. They just want to hang out with some friends and shoot zombies for a minute without having to think about decoding some Morse code to open the door to Pack-a-Punch. And obviously I'm being a little dramatic here. I like a lot of the new maps, but I think it's good to appreciate that Notch is pretty much as simple as a zombies map could possibly be, and it's still pretty fun to play at the end of the day. But again, just because they are complex maps doesn't mean that Nacht is the only simple option to play. There are a ton of other simple maps that came out, even some in World at War itself, so just saying that some people might want to play simple maps doesn't really answer the question if to Nacht is still fun. So yeah, those are a few reasons to go play Notch in general, but to see if Notch is still fun, we need to compare it to other zombies maps, and let's hope that it does not disappoint, am I right? So there are several simple maps to compare Nacht to, including pretty much every World at War map, but let's compare it to what I think is the best example of a simple zombies map, which is Kino. Kino was actually planned to release in World at War, so it makes a lot of sense that they're similar. Obviously Kino is way better than Nacht. I'm not going to pretend like it's Nacht or anything, but that doesn't mean that Kino's existence removes all appeal from playing Nacht. For example, obviously Kino is really fun, but even Kino can get a little complicated. In my opinion, it's the perfect balance for complicated additions on a simple map with just perks and Pack-a-Punch, but the addition of the Nova crawlers are kind of annoying, I guess. I know that's being really nitpicky, but I thought I'd just point that out. Kino also has a different vibe than Notch, I guess. While Kino is the best simple map to play in my opinion, Notch still has a purpose for being the most bare bones and raw zombies maps you can play, and I don't think there are any maps that even come close to beating Nacht in those aspects. Nacht Der Untoten can be boring at times, especially if you play a lot, and there's even a lot of complaints about how slow the beginning is waiting for the first few zombies to spawn, and although it is a stretch, I've heard it compared to the GTA 5 online loading time, but that's ridiculous. Don't compare it to that. All of Notch's flaws aside though, for it being the first map ever, it's definitely still a fun novelty to go back and play every now and then, with the mindset of it being very bare bones and raw. This also goes hand in hand with the Super Zombies fans who love to play Nacht just for the challenge, since a lot of the zombies crutches that have come out since then just aren't on this map. But again, even without thinking of all of that, Nacht is still just fun to play casually. If you don't have the expectations of other zombies maps in your head, Nacht is going to be fun. Not only was this meant to be a bonus game mode, but the developers made this game mode in their free time, so the fact that it's fun at all is really a miracle. Being able to go back and play the first zombies map ever made and not having many complaints other than the lack of features is honestly telling of how well this map actually did age. Sure, it's missing a lot of really fun stuff other maps have like Kino and stuff, but when you don't compare it to other maps and just take it for what it is, Notch is really fun to play, especially with friends, but even on solo. And you get to have a flamethrower, so honestly this takes care of any of the minor complaints I had about the map because, like, what's cooler than this? Well, I mean, it's fire, so a lot of things, I guess. Anyway, if I had to answer the question, I would say that Notch is definitely still fun to play, just in small doses. And again, I'm not complaining about any of the modern day zombies maps being too complicated, but if you're gonna argue with me in the comments anyway, feel free to, because I don't know how to read.